that it needs without working with other countries. We cannot achieve it in isolation. And that is why we passed the African Continental Free Trade Area, so that our people can invest in each other's countries, our people can move freely amongst each other's countries. Ghana is actioning this. Recently, we have made visas to our country for all African passport holders free of charge. So any African traveling to Ghana does not have to pay for a visa. In doing that, we've introduced the e-visa system, which makes it more convenient for our citizens living in diaspora. No longer do you have to come from Middlesbrough or Birmingham to the embassy to come and apply for a visa. You just sit wherever you are and put in the application, and within 48 hours, the visa will be issued.
So this was the President of the Republic of Ghana giving his address. Now, what you are seeing on the screens are excerpts of Ghanaians who, these are excerpts, the second batch of Ghanaians who are now in preparation to leave South Africa. The first batch of Ghanaians to leave South Africa was last week. Their number was around 300. Now the second batch is around 800. That is what we are learning. But then South Africans are saying that Ghanaians can go, but then we need all of them to leave the country. Now, one of the leaders of this whole anti-immigration march have sent a word of caution to Ghanaians and also the President of the Republic of Ghana.
They have history. They need to archive that history for themselves when they are sitting in their constituencies. ANC needs to archive their history. IFP needs to archive their history. All the other political parties need to archive their history. But the leaders need to come together and form one party for South Africa, for black people. Do you know what South Africa is so rich? How many people are here in South Africa? Almost 100 million people in here in South Africa. Okay. So what is the GDP of South Africa? It's more than billions of rands. I'm saying, if this government, if these people of South Africa come together, this country can afford to give each and every South African 1 million rand a year for the rest of their lives. We are so rich. That's why all these countries want, all these guys from other countries want to come and stay in South Africa, because they know what we don't know.
But there will be an argument that we already have more than 500 political parties. Some of them registered as recent as last month.
Yeah, that is stupidity. Why would you want to go and do something? Let's say you and me want this country to be okay. Why so many political parties? It doesn't make sense. So we know it's not an easy thing to achieve, but we'll keep preaching it, and we know most South Africans want this. So if the leaders that are benefiting from the corrupt system, we will leave them alone. We will never vote them into power. Watch in this local government election, see how what is going to happen to these big political parties, because they don't respect people. You can't tell me you will choose a foreigner, an illegal immigrant, over a South African. That is very stupid of any leader to say that or say anything about that, supporting the immigrant. People are dying. Yesterday, Somalis were shooting each other in Johannesburg. Where do they get the nerve to even have guns and shoot each other in a foreign country? And they must be very careful. Tomorrow we are going to Joburg, and if we heard that some of them want to shoot us when we are walking on the street, I dare them. Whoever.
So this was one of the protesters, the lead protester, who came out to say that, Africans in general, the President of the Republic of Ghana, the President of Nigeria, Tinubu, Mahama, and ECOWAS, and all the other foreign country presidents, they should realize that South Africa is for South Africans. So what you are watching on the screens is when these South Africans, they went into the shops of these foreign nationals. Some of these foreign nationals are Ghanaians, some are Nigerians, some are Ethiopians, some are Zimbabweans, some are even Americans and Indians. What the South Africans did was that they went into their shops, went inside the market spaces, and they looted their things. So they enter, if you're a foreigner, they take everything, they ransack it, and then they leave. Regardless they've said that one of the main people they are targeting, in South Africa, and according to them, they don't want to see these people anywhere. Basically they don't like these people, and this group of people unfortunately is Nigerians. Now this leader again has once again muted out certain words. Let's hear exactly what he said. When we come back, we continue.
White people are part of this country. Indians are part of this country. The problems that we are facing in Phoenix, Indian kids are on drugs. If you go to the clubs there in the night, you can see even the children of pastors, children of top people in big towns. They are also in drugs. If you go to Sentin here, akuma drugs kuyabhubha kula mabhilidi ungalibona lilihle ngaphandle. Ngaphakathi ingane zeyigwili ziyafa ama-drugs. Everybody is affected with this situation that is going on in the country. So that's why sicela wonke umuntu. And also, if white people and Indians and Muslim community get involved in this fixing of this country, they are also protecting their businesses. Because if we are seen as one, people of South Africa will understand that this fight is directed to the government. It is not a fight actually. It is a warning to the government to say, government, please fix this, apply these laws, apply these laws of the country, emphasize to every peace officer and police and soldier to keep his oath and look after the country, because asikwazi ukuba nezwe bafowethu kwampunze edlemini and singamadoda and undermine ourselves. Nina insizwe nihlala lapha ema.
So what this particular man is saying is that the white people in South Africa are South Africans. Some Indians in South Africa are South Africans. But then the blacks, Ghanaians, Nigerians, we are not South Africans. We are not South Africans, and then they want their city. Now, regardless, Ghanaians diaspora have also started bringing out some warnings, and this particular warning is coming, or this particular response is coming from Fuse ODG, who is a Ghanaian musician who is currently living in the UK. He sent these words to Jacinta, and also Jacinta's co-organizer, anti-immigrant organizer, that you guys are doing this and doing that, but you guys are forgetting that Africa is actually
South Africa. Let's have a family meeting. Now everyone knows King Brown because what I've been witnessing has been too painful to watch. Now he told me that they don't have hate for other Africans. They just have a problem with the ones who are committing crimes, selling drugs and being there illegally. Now I hear that crime is real people are hurting. But then I asked him a deeper question. What about the real illegal immigrants? The ones who took your wealth, your land, your resources, and built systems where the majority are still locked out. He paused and said, "You're right, but at least they're not robbing us or committing crimes like that. But they are actually robbing you. It's just on a grander scale." Now, white South Africans, who are 7% of the population, own around 70 to 75% of private farmland. They control a disproportionately large share of wealth and major industries. Because of that, South Africa remains one of the most unequal countries in the world. So while most South Africans are fighting over access, ownership is still concentrated in the hands of the 7%. Now, this is not to dismiss South Africa's frustration, because crime, of course, must be dealt with. Illegal activities must be dealt with. But crime is not a nationality problem. It's a systems and policing issue. And neither is border control. That's a government responsibility. That's where accountability really needs to lie. And when it comes to the perpetrators of crime, according to the Institute for Security Studies based in Pretoria, the majority of crime in South Africa is committed by South Africans against South Africans. So if we're really serious about solving problems, we cannot reduce them to foreigners versus locals. We have to look at the full picture. When people are under pressure with limited opportunity, they tend to fight the people closest to them rather than fighting the system. But if we zoom out, we see something deeper. We're not just fighting for ownership anymore. We're fighting for access. We used to own the bakery and now we're fighting for crumbs. Now if 10 people are fighting over 2 cookies, the problem is not the people. The problem is who owns the bakery. Now have we forgotten that we used to be builders of kingdoms, traders across continents, inventors, architects, and system builders? We built economies way before colonization. The real tragedy is we no longer remember this, but forgetting that was part of the design. Now that's psychological colonization. Now my South African family, this is not an attack. Right now, we're just directing our pain sideways instead of what's directly in front of us. And just to give you an extra perspective on why it's so painful for us to watch you from the outside.
Okay, so this was Fuse ODG, his 2 cents about this. Meanwhile, as we're saying, Mahama is currently in the UK, having a basically interaction with Ghanaians in diaspora, and also having a town hall meeting with Ghanaians. A whole lot of things really went on. He spoke on issues about South Africa, concerning the World Cup, and also Ghana's economy in general. So we will take a listen to what His Excellency, the dialogue His Excellency had with Ghanaians diaspora. When we come back, we will continue.
You can have individual talents, but if you don't work as a team, you don't achieve as much rapid progress as you should. But I'm happy to say that this government is working as a team, and we understand each other and we're working together. This visit is important, and we came mainly because of the UK Investment Summit. And so that summit will take place tomorrow, and I'm hoping that as many of you as possible can join us, because there will be more detailed discussions on what is going on in Ghana, what the investment opportunities are. The Ghana Investment Promotion Council is here, the State Housing Company is here. Indeed, so many of our chief executives of SOEs are here, and you get an opportunity to get more in-depth knowledge about what is happening. We'll also have a breakfast meeting with the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer at 10 Downing Street to discuss bilateral issues. And then we also have the privilege of a courtesy visit to King Charles during this visit. We'll also have a lecture at Chatham House, and so those who are able to attend can also join us. And then we'll also give the keynote address for the Africa debates. And so it's quite a packed program. But as part of our accountability to the people, I cannot come to the UK without meeting our fellow citizens and sharing a moment with you. As we have said, our diaspora is the 17th region of Ghana. We have 16 physical regions in Ghana, but we have one virtual region, which is our diaspora abroad. And I mean, it's obvious that you are critical to what we do, because, like the minister said, your remittances have reached the highest ever, above $7.8 billion actually last year. And I mean, I dare say that probably that is much larger than, you know, many regions are contributing to the GDP in Ghana. So you deserve your position as the 17th region of Ghana. And to recognize that, as part of the Constitution review, we currently have a legislation before Parliament to review the 1992 Constitution to allow Ghanaians in the diaspora who hold other passports or dual passports to be able to participate in our politics at parliamentary, ministerial level. And I privately call it the Jechikwesin law, because of the tribulations this man went through. He almost ended up in jail, but I was confident that it wasn't going to happen, because I knew we were going to win the election and he would gain his freedom. And so thank you very much. You've heard quite a bit about the economy. We have just emerged from the extended credit facility, which is an IMF program, and the Minister of Finance has briefed you on the situation that we met. Actually, the government had entered into the IMF program before we took over the reins of government. But unfortunately, after the fourth review, all the performance criteria from June the year before, in 2024, had gone completely off track. And so the IMF program was completely derailed off track. And so when we took office, the next review was going to take place in April. And so happily, they sent a small technical team. We sat together. Everything that government had agreed with them was off track. And so it meant that between then and when the fund arrived for the main review, we had to take very, very strong decisions. And that is why the Minister of Finance told you that we had to take quite stringent, bitter decisions. But that is what life is about. When you are ill, sometimes you have to take bitter medicine before you get better. And I'm happy, as he said, to say that the sacrifices that Ghanaians made had paid off. And Ghana is, like he said, back again. Ghana is working again. And so he's giving you all the statistics. The macro economy is stable. And all the macro indicators are looking very much in the right direction. Indeed, a lot of people are surprised at how it was achieved. And Ghana has become the poster boy for economic recovery across the world. Anytime they go for the spring meetings of the World Bank and the IMF, everybody is pointing to the other African countries to Ghana and say, go to Ghana and learn how they did it. And so there's a time when we must be proud to be Ghanaian, not only because our economy is doing well, but we can see that we are making progress towards the country that our forebears dreamed us to become. We have led Africa in the liberation struggle, and under our first president, we pushed for African continental unity, and Ghana has been at the forefront of Pan-Africanism. And I must say that we have achieved our pride of place again at the forefront of Pan-Africanism. Recently, we went to the United Nations. The African diaspora and indeed Africans on the continent have been struggling over the issue of reparations for so many years. We became the champion of reparations and restitutive justice. And when I went to the UN in September, I announced to the world that we're going to move a motion to describe the slave trade, transatlantic slave trade, as the gravest crime against humanity. And we did that with 123 votes. A lot of people believed that there was no way we could garner that support, but we did. And that has put on record what happened to our ancestors and people of African ancestry. Now we need to move to the next step, and so we're hosting a conference in Accra in June, which is called The Next Steps. And it's called The Next Steps because after the UN resolution, what next? And so we're bringing the Caribbean and all people of African descent from all over the world to come and discuss what the next steps are. Recently, we've always pushed for African unity, and so it's sad to see some of the things that are happening on the continent. There's no way that any African country can achieve the kind of progress that it needs without working with other countries. We cannot achieve it in isolation. And that is why we passed the African Continental Free Trade Area, so that our people can invest in each other's countries, our people can move freely amongst each other's countries. Ghana is actioning this. Recently, we have made visas to our country for all African passport holders free of charge. So any African traveling to Ghana does not have to pay for a visa. In doing that, we've introduced the e-visa system, which makes it more convenient for our citizens living in diaspora. No longer do you have to come from Middlesbrough or Birmingham to the embassy to come and apply for a visa. You just sit wherever you are and put in the application, and within 48 hours, the visa will be issued. Indeed, I had the honor of issuing the first visa. And the person who got the first visa when I pressed the portal is a Serbian. I later found out he's an oil rig worker. And so he arrived in Accra Airport, and then continued to Takra. They boarded a helicopter, and he's on the oil rig somewhere offshore in Ghana. And so that's an achievement we are all proud of. When the minister was talking, he talked about growth. One of the important things to look at with growth is what they call non-oil growth. Normally when you are an oil-producing country, for many oil-producing countries, 90% of their growth is down to export of crude oil and gas. And so they've coined a term they call the Dutch disease. And so every country aims to have balanced growth. And so always you must look at the non-oil growth. It means if you take oil and gas out as a component of your growth, you must see significant progress. It means that your agriculture is working, your manufacturing is working, your digital and ICT are working. And like he said, we achieved more than 7% growth in non-oil. And so that's a very significant figure to look at to judge what the health of the economy is. And so again, we thank the economy team for what they're doing. The energy sector too is critical, and I'm happy to announce that it's stable. We have begun undertaking a total revamp of the electricity distribution sector. There are some areas where the transformers were installed 22 years ago, and for some of you, I'm sure that if you have homes back in Ghana, you go and you notice that in some places the power surges and you have brownouts and that kind of thing. The electricity is not stable. And that's because at the time you build a house, they put a transformer there and you had 100 houses in your vicinity. Today, with that same transformer that was put there, you have 500 houses in the same vicinity using that same transformer. And so the transformers get overloaded and they are not able to provide stable power. So we're overhauling all the transformers all over the country in order that power is stable for everybody. We inherited a debt in the energy sector of about $1.5 billion. And the Minister of Energy and the Minister of Economy, Finance have both been working together to pay down that debt. For instance, we had with ENI, which is one of the major players in our upstream energy sector, drilling for oil in the OCTP field. Their field is called the Sankofa field. We had a World Bank guarantee of $500 million. That's guaranteed payment to them for the gas that we consume. At the time we took over, that World Bank guarantee had been drawn down to zero. Today, through the hard work of the Minister of Energy and the Minister of Economy, we've built that World Bank guarantee back fully to $500 million. And so as a result of that, they have also expanded the amount of gas they are giving us, which we use to generate power. Recently, we've signed agreements with them and the Jubilee Partners. The Jubilee Partners, we've signed an agreement for them to invest another $2 billion in drilling new wells offshore Ghana in order to increase the amount of oil and gas that we produce. We've also signed with ENI to invest another $1.5 billion in the OCTP field to increase the amount of gas and oil that we produce. But there's a very interesting scenario. Normally, we produce the oil and we export it. And then we import finished products, or we import crude oil to refine. We are just about to make history again. We did it in my first term, but after we left office, it didn't continue. We are about to start to refine our own crude. And so, in June, we are delivering a parcel of Ghanaian crude from our own oil fields to the Tema Oil Refinery to process. And that is what we call value addition, because we process, we mine ores like manganese, bauxite, and all the other ores, gold and everything, and then we ship them out to be processed by somebody. And so in that processing, we're creating jobs in that other person's economy. And then the products for which we sent the ores abroad are made into finished products, and those finished products are exported back to us. And so we need to pursue value addition, not only in the mining sector, in the oil and gas sector, but also in the agriculture and other manufacturing sectors. And so I've said that next year, because we're going to buy our cocoa with our own money, before we had to go at the beginning of every season to go and borrow money from the traders. And we use that money to purchase the cocoa. And we collateralize our cocoa beans in advance for that money. So if it's the 2026 season and they give us $1 billion, we collateralize the 2026 beans to them. And so you have to export those beans to them. This year, the Minister of Finance, we've been trying to revitalize Cocoa Board. The Minister of Finance is going to allow Cocoa Board to float a bond by itself to raise the money that it needs to buy our cocoa. And so we are going to use our own money to buy our own cocoa. And I've said that if we use that money to buy the cocoa, it's not collateralized. 50% of those beans must be processed locally in Ghana. Because we export all those cocoa beans, and the grinding and the processing is done outside, and then the chocolates and cocoa powders and cocoa drinks are exported back to us. We're going to process ourselves, and also export finished products, not only within the continent, under the African Continental Free Trade Area. Cocoa products qualify because almost 100% of the content is locally sourced. And so it qualifies perfectly under the African Continental Free Trade Area. And Ghana should be able to supply virtually the whole of Africa with cocoa products. And so we're going to do that. We also had a problem with independent power producers. A certain amount of our power is produced by private investment. And at the time we came, we owed them about $1.5 billion. There too, the Minister of Finance, Ato, is working with the Energy Minister, have managed to pay down that debt. And what we've done is we've ring-fenced the debt, and we've given them a payment plan, and we've met every single payment to them. And so they also are happy and producing power, and our power sector is stable. So let me just touch on two more things, and then I think I'll give you the opportunity to ask any questions that you want. One is governance. Governance is important. Ghana has progressed in the Press Freedom Index. We've moved up more than 30 places on the Press Freedom Index. Our constitution guarantees freedom of association, freedom of religion and worship, freedom of movement, and I believe that we are quite well advanced in terms of maintaining those rights. We also are amending the Constitution. The Constitution has served us very well from 1992 to date. But a time comes when you have to amend it so that you make it a living document to be able to serve you for another 30 years or more. And so we set up a Constitution Review Committee, which took the work that had been done under Atta Mills by the Fiajo Committee, and then we also took the work that had been done under Nana Akufo-Addo by the Chairman's Abunsu Committee. And we gave these two documents to the Constitution Review Committee. They did a good job. They presented their reports, and government is finalizing its proposals in response to that report. Once that is done, the process for constitutional review will start. I don't want to bore you with the details, but there are many things that have been identified in there which will go to Parliament. And for those that are entrenched provisions, they will have to go for a referendum. That means all Ghanaians must participate in the referendum to decide what the constitutional review will be. With accountability, a lot of work is going on. We have about 36 active investigations, and we believe that if you serve in government, you must be prepared to be accountable, because the people put trust in you and give you that mandate to serve, and you serve at the will of the people. And so if you serve and you use public office and abuse the trust of the people, you must be held to account. And I have said that we must stop post-regime accountability. Often when things happen under one government, no investigations are done, government is reluctant to prosecute anybody. It takes the next government that comes to take the cases up and begin any prosecutions. And so I've told my people serving in government that the same accountability we're holding the past regime to. If you get involved in an abuse of trust of your office, we will deal with you in the same way. And Mayor in Tree, we say, Aba ya Deportation, no ya Deporting. Yes. It reminds me of our President Rawlings of late, blessed memory. He said, Aba ya Deportation, edaho. And so we're putting in place the structures, and the point is to do as much as possible to prevent corruption. And now technology allows us to be able to do that. The former digital budgetary platform we're using, which is the GIFMIS, is no longer fit for purpose, so we are upgrading it. That will allow us to see in real time how Ghana's money is being spent. And because we're using blockchain technology, if you go in and you put anything there, you can't go back and change it. And so if you put in a fictitious invoice, we will find you out, because once it goes in and it is queried, we'll come back and arrest you. At the port, we've introduced AI to help our customs officers do the evaluation. And so far it's working very well. Ato is a very happy man, because every day he gets the notification on his phone how much money the AI has saved him in terms of revenue leakages, and he sleeps well at night. You know, sometimes he forwards it to me when it's a record high. He says, President, look how much the AI saved us today. You know, so we're doing that. We're setting up audit courts. Every year you hear the Auditor General's report. Ghana lost 12 billion CDs from misappropriations and things. The Chief Justice has graciously set up audit courts. And so this time we're not just going to go to the Public Accounts Committee and say that this person misappropriated this, and nothing happens. After the Public Accounts Committee has looked at it, the Attorney General and the Auditor General are going to take out all the people who have misappropriated, and we're putting them in front of those special courts to either refund our money or proceed to Nsawam and go and catch some rest there. And so as I wrap up, I can't not talk about environment. We still have a problem with illegal mining. Ghana was not called Gold Coast for nothing. Virtually everywhere in the country, if you dig, you will find some gold. The only regions I think haven't found any gold are Volta region, OT, and a few other regions. And I tell them that they are blessed that there is no gold under their land. And so if you go to Volta region, the forests are still beautiful, you know, the rivers are clean, you know. And so we won't give up the fight. Communities have become used to relying on illegal mining for their incomes. And so we have been in discussion. It is about what they call formalization of mining. Other countries have had the same problem, and they've been able to formalize their small-scale mining sector. Countries like Peru had the same problem as we had, with people digging just everywhere. They managed to formalize it using exploration, using regulation. Now their geological survey is able to explore using some new satellite technology to be able to identify exactly where the gold is. And when that is identified and a lease is given, you have to do all the infrastructure work to prevent poisoning the waters or everything before you even put a shovel on the ground. And it has worked quite well for them. In our case, exploration is not done. They take a concession 20 kilometers square. They go to this corner of it, go and dig. Then they wash, they say, oh, bibi here. Then they go and dig here. Oh, there's nothing here. Then they go and dig here. It's like just shooting in the dark until they hit a vein. And then when they hit a vein, they just start digging and washing the water into the environment. And so our aim is to formalize, and that's why we set up the Gold Board. The Gold Board is not only to sell gold, it is also to invest in reclamation and also formalization of the small-scale gold mining sector. But in the meantime, we have the task force, which is called NIMOS, which goes around and confiscates these excavators. And now we're confiscating the Shamfan machines, because that's the critical equipment that is used in illegal mining. Without the Shamfan machine, that whole mining operation will come to a stop. And so they were being exported into Ghana from outside, and we have identified the components that make the Shamfan machines. So at the port, we confiscate them and we destroy them so that they cannot use them in the illegal mining. We also are pushing for a greater participation in our resources. It is only natural. I mean, for many years, we have given out huge concessions to foreign companies. They come, they mine, after they finish, they just leave the scars of the mining with poor communities dotted around. And so we recently introduced what we call a sliding scale. The sliding scale goes from 5 to 12. And so if the price goes down to, let's use gold as an example, if the price goes down to say $2,000 or $2,300, the minimum royalty is 5%. But if the price goes up to above 4,500 thereabouts, the sliding scale pushes the royalties up to 12%. And so Ghana gets more from the royalties. So that's one of the changes we've made. But we're also passing a local content bill. That means that all the ancillary work and subcontracting in mining must be given to Ghanaian companies. For many years, we've had the University of Mines and Technology, and so Ghana has more than enough geologists, we have civil engineers, we have companies that are capable of doing all that subcontracting. Before, there used to be transfer pricing, because the same company doing the mining will form a foreign subsidiary and award the contract to them to come and do the mining, and then they raise the prices of the subcontracting, and so they're making profit here and making profit there. And so we're saying that you do the mining, make your profit, but the subcontracting work, hauling, drilling, blasting, must be done by Ghanaian companies so that a component of the profit of mining remains locally in our country. So finally, defense and security. We live in a dangerous sub-region. You're all aware of what is happening in the Sahel. And they say that when your neighbor's house is burning, you don't only fetch water and put it by your house, but you also go and help him to quench his, so that it won't spread to your house. And so that's what we've been doing. When I came as president, the relations between our 3 Sahelian neighbors and the rest of ECOWAS were very frozen. And so I took it on myself to try and create a bridge between ECOWAS and our 3 Sahelian neighbors. And I must say that they have responded positively, and we are trying to create a rapprochement between us, because all of us need to join them in the fight against terrorism. Because if we don't, and the terrorists gain a strong foothold in their countries, the next direction in which they would look is towards us. But even as we do that, we also must strengthen our defense and security. We found our army in a very dilapidated state. At the time I left as president, we had bought 3 new Casa 295 aircrafts. When I came back, only one was working. One had crashed. The other one was supposed to go for service. It hadn't been sent for service. Happily, I made the finance minister deliberately the acting minister of defense. And so anytime the soldiers send their bills, he pays quickly because he's their acting minister. So he's paid to repair the second plane that was grounded. We had 4 helicopters, the MH17 helicopters. One of them crashed. When we came, only one was working, and 2 needed servicing. He has paid to repair them and bring them back into service. We are providing the armed forces with armored personnel carriers, APCs they call them. Also the police service, we've not forgotten about them. Recently we gave them armored cars. We used to expect them to go and fight armed robbers. And they go and fight armed robbers, highway robbers, sometimes using AK-47s, in thin-skinned vehicles. I mean, that means vehicles that are not armored. And so we're losing a lot of police officers because the highway robbers shoot at them. And I mean, I think in 2024 we buried about 16 police officers. Some of them died in robberies. And so again, by the generosity of the Minister of Finance, he released some money and we bought them 40 armored vehicles. And you can already tell, because our roads have become safer, they do the patrols and they know that they are protected and that government thinks about them and their safety. And so they do more patrols, and we're getting a handle on those delinquents who want to prey on our people. And so that also is going well. In foreign policy, we're collaborating with all our partners. We are friends to all, enemies to none. And we have special relations with everybody, the United Kingdom, US, France, Germany, Russia, Ukraine, Iran, Israel. Everybody is our friend. All we do is to tell them to stop fighting. The fighting is okay. Stop fighting so that we can build prosperity for this world. And so I want to leave it there, and thank you very much for your kind attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana. Thank you so much, Mr. President, for bringing us up to speed on the wonderful happenings in our country. Ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful communicator we've got for a president. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me? Let's give him another round of applause then. One may ask, why do I say that? I say that because he put his speech aside and he still gave us the numbers solid, back to back, off the top of his head. What more could you ask for? Thank you very much, Your Excellency. He also did say it's a good time to be proud to be a Ghanaian. I certainly agree with him. If you're proud to be a Ghanaian today, just shout, Ghana to the world! Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll now proceed to the Q&A session. Our President and his able ministers are all ears to listen to you and to answer your questions as well. As we engage, may I kindly remind everyone of the following. Please keep your contributions as brief, respectful, and it's also going to be limited to one question per person. If you go on for too long, unfortunately, I'll have to use my host privileges and cut you off. We also encourage everyone to focus on issues of national importance and avoid matters already being dealt with through diplomatic channels and institutional channels as well. We've got the privilege of having the President here, so let's not waste that opportunity by talking about issues that the Ghana High Commission can handle for you, for instance. We've got some ushers in the crowd with microphones. Can I see where the ushers are? Okay. Should we start then? We'll start from the left-hand side. Yes, if you just hand that over to the gentleman next to you, yeah. We'll take 4 questions for every round, ladies and gentlemen. Please state your name before you ask your question as well. And if you're representing an organization, please feel free to mention that organization as well. Your microphone is not working. Should we move on to the next one while you get that sorted? Okay, can we please move to the middle? Yes, please.
Hello, Your Excellency, Ministers of State, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Elijah Timob. I am East London Branch Chairman. I have one simple question for our President. You have stated not once, not twice, but several times how we in the diaspora contribute heavily to the economy of Ghana, almost to the tune of $8 billion annually. I think that is a very significant 17th region to be largely ignored. Don't you agree? From
Please,
East London,
the question.
Yes.
Else I'm going to have to use my host privileges to cut you off. The question.
My question is,
yes,
we understand that not everybody can be satisfied. And so we want to be part of the solution. And so in East London, we have come up with a proposal to help create jobs as part of the 24-hour economy.
Okay, let's come to your question, sir, please.
Yes, so my question is,
respectfully,
who would be the right person that we would send that proposal to? Because we send things and they just disappear.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We'll go back to the first gentleman.
Hello.
On my left-hand side.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Edwin Essel, a member of the Ghanaian community in the UK.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's be quiet.
Mr. President and dignitaries, we've talked a lot about transparencies and what overall, when the new government took over, we had so many stories about the cocoa board and misapplied funds, etc. My proposal here is, in the interest of transparency and accountability, why can't every single public institution be made to produce audited accounts every year? That will avoid all of those noises year after year.
Thank you very much. No, one per person, please, respectfully. Okay. Thank you very much for your question. Okay, let's go to the right-hand side. Who's got the microphone on the right-hand side? Please. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is George Echampo, and I represent Leeds branch. I'm the communication officer for the Leeds branch. Leeds is well known, a very vibrant one, very known by Excellency Mrs. Zita Benson. She knows Leeds very well. We are very vibrant. My question is very simple, and is to His Excellency. My question is about reversible reaction. we all know about brain drain being a very big disease as far as Ghana is concerned. Now, I'm asking what His Excellency and the government is doing about trying to sort of create a database so that people who are capable and the elite people of this of the diaspora can channel through it so that they will be known, and if there are availabilities for certain positions and certain jobs, it can be known.
Thank you very much for your question. We will take the last question for the first round. Let me look towards the back. The gentleman with the Ghana flag. Yes,
hello.
In the red hat.
Hello. Okay. Your Excellency, my name is Anderson and I represent the Ghana International Supporters Union. I want to find out, I know Ghana is carrying supporters to the US for the World Cup. Have you made any provision for those in the UK and groups that are also not in Ghana but want to be part of it? Please.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for your question. We will now give Your Excellency, the President, the opportunity to respond to those questions, and then we'll move on to the next round. The floor is yours, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. I think I'll just answer this round and remain here so that I don't have to keep going between my seat and this place. With regards to the first question, and that's the East London chapter, I'm proud to say that my roads minister, Kwame Aguja, was vice chair of the East London chapter, and Atufosin was a member of the East London chapter, and so there is evidence of many of our people coming back and being integrated into the system. Indeed, that is why we're doing what we're doing and amending the constitution to allow you to participate at every level of governance in Ghana. Before, if you had dual citizenship or you were not exactly resident, you were cut out from participating in some aspects of Ghanaian life. But like we said, being the 17th region, you must be free to be able to come home and participate. And normally what I say, this links with the issue of brain drain, is that when I go, I don't tell our citizens, come back home and come and work. You must do it strategically. Relocating can be very shocking. I've seen people just pack their bags, I'm going home. And they get back home and in a year they are so frustrated, that they virtually pack and come back. And so take your time, look for what you want to do when you get back. And you can even start it, and make sure that it is, being grounded before you relocate. And so there's brain drain and there's brain gain. The thing, and this is what I say about migration. Somebody says, why did you come to our country? Human beings from time immemorial have been very mobile. All of us were created in Africa. Human civilization started in Africa. And then our cousins, the British, migrated and came here. The Chinese migrated and went there. Everybody migrated to somewhere else. And people move for many reasons. Some for opportunity, some just want to travel and go somewhere else. And so just as you say, somebody is in your country, you too, your people are in that person's country. And so in Ghana we have everybody. We have British, we have South Africans, we have Sudanese, we have everybody, and we're living together. So I think that it is that diversity, and our elders say, "Yedi ahoho na chichiri kru." For those of you who know that, yedi ahoho na chichiri kru, because ahoho come sometimes with investment, and sometimes they come with new ideas that you never thought about. So there will be brain drain, there will be brain gain, but it's to the benefits of everybody. When we came, there were several state-owned enterprises, and I should have added that to my report. I'm pleased to tell you that a lot of the state-owned enterprises are turning around. That has been one of the major stumbling blocks on economic progress. And then the second one is also the road infrastructure. Ghana has maintained the old road infrastructure that was left us by the British. And these roads were single lane highways. And so you have one traffic going in one direction and another coming in the other direction. That is a recipe for accidents, because wrong judgment in overtaking leads to head-on collisions. And so we have taken a decision, and I'm happy the road minister is here under the big push. Major roads, that is our busiest roads, are being dualized. And so you would have 4 lanes, 2 lanes on one side going in the same direction, and 2 lanes on the other side coming in the same direction, so that the issue of single lane overtaking and collisions will be a thing of the past. And so the Accra, Winneba, Mankesem, Cape Coast Takrady Road, which is one of our busiest roads, is being converted into a dual course highway. The Accra, Adan to Aflawo Road, which is another of our biggest roads, is also being turned into a dual course highway. But then the iconic one is the Accra Kumasi Expressway. And I'm pleased to inform our traditional ruler that work has actually started. We've given the 48th Engineers Regiment of the Ghana Army the contract to clear the roadway, and they've started. As I was leaving Ghana, they had cleared 51 kilometers of the road. And that new road is going to reduce the traveling distance between Accra and Kumasi from 270 kilometers to 198 kilometers. So 1 is going to be shorter, and 2 is going to be a 6-lane expressway. So there'll be 3 lanes going in one direction and 3 lanes coming in the other direction. And in all the major towns, it's not going to go through any major town. It's bypassing all the towns. If you get to Asamankesi, there'll be an off-ramp. You go on the off-ramp, you come under the bridge, and then you go to Asamankesi. If you get to Akimodan, you go off the off-ramp and you go to Akimodan. If you get to Ofuasi, who's from Ofuasi, you go off the off-ramp and you go to Ofuasi. If you get to, what do they call it, Bosomtri, you go off the off-ramp and you go to Bosomtri. So it's not going to go through any major urban development. And so you won't have people selling bread and other things along the road. At various stops in the road, there are going to be rest stops. And so there'll be a filling station, there'll be restaurants, there'll be shops, there'll be guest houses. If you want to take a rest, you can go off the road, go and rest. You can use the washrooms, you buy your fuel, and then you continue. And so there'll be rest stops along the road. Of course, it will be a tolled road. And so if you want to use it, you have to pay. If you don't want to pay, then the old, I was going to say snail-paced old road is still available for you. That one, if you want to take that option, that's for you. But if you want to go quickly, and it will take you 2 hours to go from Accra to Kumasi instead of current 5 hours that you take. And so I believe that working on the road infrastructure will reduce the accidents, but we also are tightening the licensing regime so that people who go behind the steer, we know, have the capacity to take people from point A to point B. With regards to the 24-hour economy, and I'm happy Guzi gave you a brief on it, we've passed the 24-hour economy authority bill. It's become an act now. I signed it into law. And just last week, the team brought the report and the vision to cabinet for approval, which we've done. And they're starting with several projects, including logistics, that is moving goods from Tema along the Volta Lake to Bupe in the northern region. There are supposed to be agro-industrial parks, and so there'll be factories there, and they can move their products, their raw material up and bring their finished products down. They're also investing, going to get the private sector to invest in 200 megawatts of solar capacity in order to bring down the cost of electricity. One of the major things that affects our competitiveness of industry in Ghana is that our cost of power is too high. And so we want to use renewable energy like solar to bring down the tariffs for industry, especially so that they can expand and employ more people. With regards to flights, we use a combination of both. It depends on where we're going and what the scheduling is. If you have a visit where you have to go to multiple places, you cannot use commercial flights. You know, for instance, the last time we had to go to Gabon, and then from Gabon fly to UAE. I mean, it's difficult to get commercial flights to take you and let you arrive on time for whatever you're doing. So you necessarily have to go by private means. But I mean, if you're coming to Ghana for UK Investment Summit, I mean, it makes sense to come commercial. And so this visit became commercial because there are no time limits, and we're coming to UK for this summit, and then from there we're going back home. And so we came commercial, and we'll go back commercial. With regards to youth in government, I'm pleased to announce that this government probably has the youngest average age in the history of the Fourth Republic. If you look at our CEOs, our ministers, if you strike the average age, we have the youngest government in the history of our republic. And I'm glad to say that they are doing a very efficient job. They've proven that young people are capable of doing it. They are capable of working for the interest of the people. And I'm proud of all the CEOs and others who are working as part of my team. We, as part of the constitutional review, are considering reducing the age limit for Parliament and for the presidency. The Constitutional Review Committee recommended 30 years, but I think the government's position is for 35 years. And so between 30 and 35, we have to make a decision, but Parliament will decide. But I can tell you that there are very young people in government, and of course, Parliament doesn't have any limits on age. You can go into Parliament even at 25, 26 years, but the main limit is for presidential, for president or vice president, and that we want to reduce to 30 years or 35 years of age. And so I believe that young people are taking part in what is happening in Ghana. If you go into the digital and fintech space, you'll be surprised at what the young people are doing there. You know, the fintechs, and they're just 18 years, 19 years, 20 years, you know, average age just around 20. And they have taken to the technology like ducks to water, you know. And so youth are actively participating in Ghana's economic progress. And I think that we can link up with them to see how they're doing. With FDI, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center has removed the limit on how much you need to bring into the country before you can come in and invest. We want to open up the space for as many people as possible. So any of you who want to invest, or you have investors who are coming, before you had to come and show physically $1 million before you are giving the privileges to invest. Now you don't need to put up that capital. And so it's open, free, people are invited to invest. We don't have any restrictions on where you invest. The only area is in small retail business. That is an area reserved for Ghanaians. Small retail business like corner shops and things. We don't expect that somebody will come from outside and come and open a container shop on your street corner. That is reserved for Ghanaians, and so that's the only restricted area. But otherwise, everywhere else, anybody who has foreign direct investment is welcome to bring their investments into Ghana.
Thank you very much, His Excellency. We'll take the third round of questions. Oh my God, a sea of hands. Let's go to my right-hand side. Thank you, sir. Please state your name.
My name is Kweku Adams. I'm Associate Professor at the University of Bradford. I represent the Ghana Scholarly Society as the president. There are a lot of scholars overseas that do great research that do not get used, do not get unnoticed. I want to find out how much is the president willing to work with the societies, scholars who are doing research, cutting-edge research in solar energy, land reclamation, blockchain technology that we can use. Is there a budget to support some of these activities or research that we do so that we can together inform policy going forward? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll take one from the back and then we'll go upstairs. Who has the microphone at the back? You have it, sir.
Yes.
For
Mr. President.
1 second, sir. For those holding the microphones, please, let's have some gender balance here, because you're just handing it over to the men. Please, some gender balance. Thank you. You have the floor, sir.
Yeah. Mr. President, thank you for your service.
There are two ladies in the
to Mother Ghana.
Okay, sir.
My name is Kwesi Busumbru, founder of PAP, People's Action Party. My question to you is about Akosomo Dam. The dam was built between 1961 and 1965. We are now running, it was 1,000 megawatts, but right now we're using 2 turbines generating less than 200 kilowatts. We have the biggest dam from Ethiopia, the Renaissance Dam, that cost 5 billion to build, and they have 16 turbines that is supplying all over Eastern Africa and the Horn of Africa. My question is, during your speech, you made mention of the fact that you've just paid 1.5 billion of debt by the previous government on electricity. So if Ethiopia used 5 billion to build 16 turbines, that is giving them 5,000 megawatts of power, which is something that they don't have to do anything of buying crude oil or gas to power their generation for the next 50 years. Akosomo Dam is over 50 years old, and most dams, when they are 50, it's either you blow it out and build a new one, or find the alternative. But the alternative we have in Ghana about gas and light crude oil, I think is past itself by the respectfully. What are you going to do about maybe learning a thing or two from Ethiopia?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your question. 1 second. There are 2 ladies in the middle. I'll choose one of them can have the microphone. The one with the fan. Kindly hand the microphone over to the lady with the fan. Thank you. I'll come to the left in a second. You have the floor.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and our dignitaries. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Yvonne Lawson, MBE, a founder at the Godwin Lawson Foundation. Youth crime and knife crime is very, very prevalent in our community. We know most young people have died in our communities, especially our young black boys, through knife crime. As a campaigner, we know there are lots of issues, root causes to these issues. Root causes such as school exclusion, lack of opportunities, and lack of employment. I would like to know from Mr. President what your policies will be to support organizations like ourselves to ensure that our children in the UK remain safe.
Thank you for your question. Thank you. We'll take one from upstairs, and then a High Commissioner will take one as well. Well, she'll respond. She'll answer the question. If we can have a lady from upstairs. Yes, please. So our High Commissioner will respond to the last question that was just asked.
Actually, I thought that question would be directed to the mayor and the MP.
Thank you.
How to protect our children from youth crime? Yeah, we hear about it and we feel very saddened. I mean, there are all these knife stabbings and things, and I think it's unfortunate. You diagnosed it yourself. You said exclusion, opportunity, and things like that. So I think that those are issues addressed within UK. Every country has its peculiarities. We also have issues with youth crime, but they don't. I don't think stabbing and things are predominant. But we also have issues with drug addiction and things like that. Yes. Okay, so let's. I thought you had somebody up there.
Let's take upstairs. There's a lady that had a microphone upstairs. Please go for it. You have the floor. Please speak up. Your name and your question. Please be brief. Okay, let's move downstairs. Please hand the microphone to our uncle over there. Yes, yes, please, yes. You have the floor, uncle.
Which of them?
My name is Ade Sawyer. I'm retired now, but I remain a community activist. I have some concerns, too, but I would ask one question, and I will let the president take the concerns away. I'm happy that the High Commissioner has invited us to this meeting to come and engage with the leader of our country. I've listened to some of the ministers, and whilst it looks like the metrics are going in the right direction, the optics do not look very good. Every year there's perennial flooding. We have not been able to solve that problem in the city of Accra, our main city. Every weekend we see on TikTok the ministers at parties, instead of being with their constituents, they are talking to each other, blowing time. It does not look good, Mr. President. Please tell them that at weekends, they should go back to their constituents and find out what it is that the people of Ghana need.
Thank you very much for your question.
And now my concern. Up to last week, we had a perfectly legal system that criminalized people with homosexuals. We have now decided that we are bringing on another law, which is a total distraction.
Uncle, please come to your question.
The concern is that
we're running out of time.
Everywhere you go from now,
please
people
ask your
will ask
question.
you about the LGBT bill and why we needed it.
Thank you very much.
I wish you well.
Thank you very much, Uncle. Thank you. We'll go back upstairs very quickly. If you're ready upstairs, we'll take your question, or else we'll have to come back down. You have the floor. You have the floor, ma'am. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam. Thank you, Mr. President. My question is very brief. I have a registered business and I am planning to undergo land reclamation and restoration. I want to ask whether I would have any support from the government, because I'm going to be starting as a starter and on a low scale, then I'll move on to a large scale. That is my plan, and I would like to know.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. We'll come to our Nananom for one more question before our president takes.
Good evening, Your Excellency, Madam.
Please hold on. Please hold on.
Let me get her question.
Decorum, please.
Let me get her question again. You say you want to do land reclamation. For what purpose? You want to do a palm plantation, or what do you want to do? I can't hear you.
Please hand her the mic. Thank you.
I want to undergo land reclamation to restore the illicit mining site into a better land in the foreseeable future. Then I would want to know if I would have or get any support from the government, because it's very important for us to restore the lands that have been destroyed so far as a result of Galamsey.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We'll take one question from Nananom. Thank you.
Mr. President and State Ministers, we welcome you all back to the UK. During your speech and that of the minister, you made an assertion that we have a lot of people in diaspora putting a lot of money into the Ghanaian economy. We have been here, we've produced professionals, so much so that we are also here giving birth to our children and nurturing them here. The problem we have is we've had the situation where our children are being cultured by the Western culture. The question I have here is the Ghanaian Progressive, which is an association of all the institute chiefs and kings over here. Actually, my name is Nana Ajenimbwati. I am the Jasehine of Asante Dwabin Yankroma, and also the Assistant Secretary for Ghanaian Progressive. Our question is this: whilst we grow our children here and we're trying to integrate our culture into their living, we are trying to ask the government, is there any chance that the government can